The management committee and executive team, both from Bidvest and Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry Kenya chapter, the Bidvest Secretariat, which is established pursuant to the provisions of Article 46 of the Institution's Articles of Associations, amended 3rd March 2020, and the Secretariat of WCCI, Kenya chapter led by Madam Joel Sonia, directors of departments at Bidvest and that of WCCI, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am here today to celebrate the relationship between Bidvest and WCCI Kenya chapter, which came into existence about 6 months ago during the exhibitions of the Kenya Industrial Investment Expo 2023 that took place at Sarit Center Expo on September 2023 between 21st to 23rd of September under the VIP clientele. This relationship is a product of the aspirations of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Article 36 on the freedom of association. Indeed, the advent of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 ushered in a new dawn in the way of living and association, inspiring socio-economic prosperity that is under Article 43.3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the freedom of association, Article 36, which has made our institution forge mutual relationship and sustainable partnerships, including those that we are currently embodying in WCCI Kenya chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, as a social service institution approved under Social Assistance Act number 24 of January 2013 by the laws of the Republic of Kenya, we continue to further the aspirations of the Republic of the Kenya's Vision 2030 Republic, particularly under social and economic pillars, underscoring the main objective of the social pillar of investing in the people of Kenya while building a just and a cohesive society, enjoying equitable social development in a clean and secure environment. And the economic pillar, aiming to achieve a sustained average economic growth rate of 10% per annum until 2030. It is worth noting that the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations declared the period 2020 to 2030 as a decade of action for the delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals, that is SDGs. This therefore means that our implementation of the Vision's framework is in line with the foregoing call for action by the United Nations for the attainment of the 2030 Agenda. The vision being country's long-term development blueprint, whose goal is to transform Kenya into a newly industrializing, globally competitive and prosperous upper middle income country with a whole high quality of life for all citizens in the world by 2030. Indeed, the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic marked unprecedented mark and focus in the modern history that will really require a lot of humanity to overcome. The COVID-19 pandemic forced many marginalized families to sit in their homes, starving without food for their children. And it was particular that difficult time people that, we had to give attention. Ladies and gentlemen, we had people who were vulnerable that we had to give utmost attention in that context. Many people across the globe were in grave danger. We expanded the outreach of the organization and continued to do what was best to do, to the extent of saving 100 shillings each per week to salvage the catastrophe. Introducing community and special programs and initiatives, notably Telemshane Mashinani Foundation, Telemshane Golden Walk, and Rembrandt Agencies was among the first steps we made. I am, on behalf of our institution and the Management Council, glad to report that today our initiative, which is a community program of our organization, has apprentices in more than 7 counties in Kenya. The leaders of our humanitarian vision lives on. We are still fighting to protecting the vulnerable, focusing on students in post-primary, colleges and universities because they continue to be the single most excluded group in the world, particularly needy girls who cannot speak for themselves, thus engaging in unhealthy practices to sustain themselves. Socioeconomically, of course. Every day, girls are facing challenges that threaten their lives and keeping them from reaching their full potential. With the right resources, girls and young women can transform communities and make our world a better place. I am much excited to have the Women's India Chamber of Commerce and Industry Kenya chapter emerging as the epitome of hope, providing support for women and young ladies, including girls through empowerment socioeconomically, giving them a voice in their business affairs, dedicated to helping the entrepreneurial growth of businesses, and seeking to promote women's interests in investment trade, commerce, agriculture, health, affordable housing, industry, and manufacturing, in strengthening women's entrepreneurship and boosting businesses through greater engagement with government institutions and global trade, collecting and circulating information and statistics on matters of general commercial and industrial interests. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my immense pleasure to acknowledge the great role that Women's India Chamber of Commerce continue to do. In addition, it obtained the removal of acknowledged grievances affecting mercantile as far as possible, together with industrial interests, to suitably deal with the legislative and policy matters and other measures affecting women's businesses and industry, providing business sector with a commonality of voice and to set a foundation to empower women and promote their socio-economic well-being, providing a forum for discussion of private sector goals and promoting economic viability of the area. The Management Council at Bidvest wishes to commend the commitment of WCCI Kenya Chapter strategic leadership role in promoting the health of the country's economy, establishing a strong international linkage and projecting a good image for the Kenyan women business community. Notably, I wish to thank the WICCI Kenya Chapter board members led by Ms. Florence Gut, the President, Ms. Asha Hasmoge, the Vice President, Shaila Anyango, Board Member, Judy L. Kilimo, Executive Board Secretary, Pauline Mugo, Board Member, Maria Nato, Board Member, Gladys Koskei, Board Member, Anita Karambaka, Board Member, Wangeshi Muriuki, Board Member, Rebecca Murunga, Board Member, Susan Nyoba, K. Anisa Abdallah, Catherine S. Magelo, Sangeta Patel, Kamal Dipsa, Lucy Muchoki, and Winnie Chepkemoi, all of them being board members, for their tremendous efforts in ensuring that Women's India Chamber of Commerce Kenya Chapter is a success. In view of the above, and without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing matters, I wish to draw your attention to the remarks of the United Nations Deputy Secretary General former Louis Frischit during the opening of the 5th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women on February 27, 2006, that the international community has finally comprehended that empowering women and girls across the world and the entire globe was the most effective tool for a country's development. She said that the studies had repeatedly shown that by giving women equal education and work opportunities and access to society's decision-making policies, a country can boost its economic productivity, reduce infant and maternal mortality rates, and improve the general population's nutrition and health. Ms. Frechet told representatives gathered during the first day of the 2-week meeting at United Nations headquarters in New York. Ms. Frechet is a Canadian diplomat and public servant who served for 8 years as United Nations Deputy Secretary General. She also served as a 3-year term at the Center for International Governance Innovation and International Relations and Policy think tank in Ontario, working on a major research project on nuclear energy and world security. So there is no time to waste. Thank you so much for being an epitome of hope. Indeed, we are the right girls' rights organization, and while we've got a lot of history behind us, we have even more plans for the future. Since its foundation, we have been able to be approved under Social Assistance Act, generating traction, building co-founding team, and being the initiate of the world's most proven fastest growing using our community to raise social interaction.